everyone. We're back with more Barnstable This Morning on this Monday, July 20th. I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me live in studio, Town Manager Tom Lynch. Tom, good morning.
Good morning. Did you have a nice weekend?
I had an excellent weekend, very busy weekend. How about yourself?
Well, it was good. I was, biking.
Yes.
Yes, I was biking coming back from Osterville, and I heard from behind that people wanted to pass me on the left, and Jennifer kind of said, I think there are real bikers coming up on us, and then all of a sudden I heard someone yell, "Hi, Tom," and it was you.
It was me, yeah.
Is that a group that you regularly bike with?
It is a group that I regularly bike with, yeah. It's my CCYP team. We're training for the last gasp.
So you're all dressed in the same biker uniforms, and how many
Yes.
miles were you doing then?
That day we did 28.
28.
And we started on the service road as our hill training ride. So we were about, I think, mile 18 when we saw you.
Oh, good. Well, you were cruising right by us, so you looked like you were just getting started. That's great.
Good ride out there. So what do we have going on?
Well, I wondered, during the summer months, we're certainly looking at a lot of our property issues, and I want to wrap up a couple of requests for proposals that we're either going out or we've been working on. One is the Marston's Mill School that we've been talking to the Cotuit Center for the Arts for. We've got another meeting scheduled on that with the evaluation committee to look at the final lease or a draft lease and hopefully see where that direction is going. And then they'll also be putting out an RFP for the new town hall, which is on Main Street, where the JFK Museum is presently occupied, and that comes up for renewal, and we do a request for proposal. We'll be looking to get proposals back on that, so
Great.
That'll be going out. But what I really wanted to talk about this morning is this whole idea of becoming a compact community. I think I mentioned before that when the Lieutenant Governor was down, she was talking about this collaborative effort that the Baker administration was commencing with communities and with the state. And she is the chair of this community compact group, basically like a compact cabinet, they're calling it. And she talked about that. And then week before last, the town managers met, and the senior deputy commissioner for the Division of Local Services was here, and he was talking. His name is Cronin, and he was talking about how you become a compact community. So we'll be talking about that this morning with staff, and some of the advantages are originally the Lieutenant Governor talked about that they weren't going to be bringing money necessarily, but then the Deputy Commissioner talked about that they were able to get approved a couple of $1 million, so they will be able to do some technical assistance with us. But they, some of the things that they're looking at is they want to empower cities and towns and school districts by finding new ways for local governments to leverage state resources and capacity. So that's, when we're doing any project, we're often looking for, how the state can be a partner with us. And I think that having, this designation would assist us with that. They also talk about the requirements being that you would have to implement at least one best practice that we're able to select from a variety of areas that they have put together. The Deputy Commissioner was emphasizing that you could put 10 in if you want, but there's no advantage over a community that puts 1 or 2 or 3 in. And you should be looking at something that you would be able to accomplish within a year or possibly 2. The designation, I believe, lasts for a couple of years, and they've recognized that there's always a lot of startup time getting going. They're going to have to approve these, and so we will see which we want to choose. Right now I'm thinking that we may go after a couple of them and designations. One we've been working on, which is transparency in the financial sector. The town council clearly has made the financial issues that one of their overriding priorities. I've always looked upon that's our major function, to make sure that we're sound financially, and we're looking at ways to try to make our budgetary material that we're always trying to get out to the public and have it readily available and somewhat easy to read. We're talking about implementing almost digital access to that and being able to have much more transparency in the process. So someone could go on and, with a click of the mouse, be able to look and see how our various priorities that we're establishing for funding. So one of the key areas that they're looking for in this, as a partner, and once you get the designation, is that you get extra points on certain grants and a grant program specifically for compact communities. So when you're looking at those kinds of incentives that you might have as you're competing with the other 351 cities and towns out there for resources, we want to be sure that we're on a level playing field and actually getting that little boost if we can.
Exactly. So, obviously getting points and being eligible for certain grants and perhaps being higher on the totem pole for grants is one benefit. What are some of the other benefits of being a compact community? Well,
I think that one thing that they're looking for is they're looking to implement best practices all around the Commonwealth. So they are going to be highlighting those practices that happen. And again, it's going to be a communication effort with this partnership to try to have us benefit from perhaps things that other communities have done, as well as looking at ours and seeing if people are enthusiastic about that. I think also when you look at a compact like this or a contract between the state and the town, they're making certain commitments and in terms of saying cities and towns are a priority for us. And in their kind of preamble, they talk about the fact that the Baker administration wants to be sure that they're producing local aid numbers in a predictable and early period of time, so that when we're doing our budgets during the course of the year, we understand what those numbers will be. For instance, the governor just last week signed the FY16 fiscal year budget. So we can now operate under that. Well, we've developed our budget, back in March and April. So when the legislature and the executive branch gets together and says we're committing at least X amount of local aid dollars, that allows us some predictability as to how we can base our budget. And cities and towns all across the Commonwealth, as they go into their either town meetings or council meetings to put the budgets together, they want to be operating out of as firm a number as you can. So there are a whole, through this compact, there are a whole list of commitments that the Baker administration has made to cities and towns, and I think that kind of commitment will form the foundation for a good partnership to move forward.
Absolutely. So what's the time frame? I mean, is this something that we have to apply for and kind of put paperwork together and then that sort of thing?
That's one of the beauties of this. They made it sound extremely easy to do. I'm looking for the exact page, but you go online. It's all digital. You click in. You put your the category you want to work on and submit it, and then that's it from our end. They then review it on theirs, get back to us. They have, they have had some early retirements, and they wanted to be sure that it might not be as quickly as it is to submit it, but it sounded like a fairly simple submittal process. What I want to be sure is that from a staff perspective, that we're looking at those areas that we think are going to be priorities coming up in the next budget and things that we're working on. But as I say, I think it'll probably just be one or two items that we'll submit this first round. You can always add to them, and so hopefully we'll be able to accomplish that quite quickly, and we'll get approval back, and we'll be a compact community.
Great. Well, we always like that. Tom, I thank you so much, as always, for stopping by and joining us here on Barnstable This Morning. We'll check in with you again next Monday.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Tom Lynch, of course, our town manager, joining us as he does each and every Monday morning. Interim Superintendent of Schools Bill Butler is next, but first, let's find out if those fish are biting. Captain Gary Brown has today's Barnstable This Morning fishing report.